welcome back to the second video of meal planning. And today we are going to be talking about intermittent fasting. You guys heard I did that once and I keep seeing questions about it since then. It's been quite a few months. So I am actually going to go into a little bit more detailed discussion about intermittent fasting, how you do it, and if it's for you. So I'm going to start this video off by saying I did do intermittent fasting, but I did it at the wrong time, and I personally actually did not enjoy it. So when it comes to women, the biggest downfall with intermittent fasting is our hormones and our estrogen, because it can really throw those out of balance. And if it's not done correctly and not done right, you can really mess with that. And I personally experienced that when I did intermittent fasting, and that's why I did not like it. A lot of people don't like sticking to a plan. You know, there's a lot of people that they prefer not to eat in the morning for many reasons. And with intermittent fasting, you have that option. You don't have to eat in the morning. Intermittent fasting gives you more freedom to eat when you want and then not eat for a certain period of time. I mean, we know what fasting means. It means you go for a period of time not eating. Intermittent just means it's more set up to where you have windows of when you eat and when you not eat, and it's more planned out and organized to a specific person and what goals they're trying to achieve, especially because it's more focused on fat loss. So fasting means you're restricted to little to almost no eating for a window of time, and that can be anywhere from 16 to 24 hours. Intermittent fasting has been proven to be a really effective tool in weight loss. So think of it this way: when you are intaking food, carbs, your body's going to be more apt to break down that food you're intaking into glucose and use that as an energy source than tapping into your fat storage, your fat stores on your body. Your body's going to depend on that constant supply and always use that as an energy source. When there's no food going in, your body blood glucose levels will decrease. When that decreases, it lowers your insulin release. In result of that, your body's going to start using stored fat as fuel. The thing to remember is there is a high percentage that your body could start breaking down muscle tissue. So that's why timing and taking in an adequate amount of protein, carbs, and fats in your feeding window. You can't just jump into doing intermittent fasting, not eat for a period of time, then kind of eat a little bit of this or eat a little bit of that in your feeding window, and then go back to fasting again. It can actually be very negative in the long run. You can actually start losing muscle, and we don't want to lose muscle. You may have decreased performance in your training. You're going to probably see an increase in, faster fatigue during training session. Also mess with you hormonally, emotionally. I know that from my own experience. At the time I did intermittent fasting, my body was already going through a lot of stress. I was doing a lot of traveling. I was already stressed out with majority of work, business, and I decided I'm going to just jump in and do intermittent fasting at the same time. Worst mistake I could have ever made is jumping into intermittent fasting. I had a 16-hour fast window, and during my fasted window I was training, also fasted in the mornings, weight training, and I was still going hard like I was doing when I was eating like high carb day. Worst thing you ever want to do. Don't ever do that, because my body ended up reacting to it so bad. I started gaining weight, my hormones, my adrenals were completely shot. They were fatigued, my cortisol levels went up, I was breaking out, I was angry, I started breaking out in hives. My body reacted so negatively to it, stressed the F out. So you want to make sure you're doing it under the right conditions, and it is planned out and timed the right way. Don't just jump into intermittent fasting, because it can really mess with all of that. Things to remember when going into intermittent fasting, because it can really throw things out of balance. And you always want to start with a small fasted window. You don't want to jump into the 16-24 hour windows. Stop eating at 8 o'clock at night, and then your next meal, what you would break your fast with, would be at 9 o'clock. That would be an 8-hour fast window. Start with maybe something small like that, and slowly let your body adjust and adapt and then you can start increasing those fasted window times. Once you break your fast, then you would eat your normal calorie intake. So you again go to jenheward.com, calculate out your macros, and you'd still want to eat whole nutrient dense foods. You don't want to go crazy with the processed stuff. You're going to eat your normal meals all the way until 8 o'clock that evening. Then you can start increasing and shorting your feeding window times to maybe 4 hours. Your fasted window times are maybe 16, 20, 24. Those get to more of the advanced intermittent fasting athletes. Biggest key is your supplementation, BCAAs. I highly recommend that you're taking in your BCAAs when you're doing intermittent fasting. I actually, when I was in my fasted window and I was training, I would drink my BCAAs. I even would do my carb drink too, even though that kind of breaks the fasted, but I still did my carb drink. Those of you that want to go hardcore with the completely nothing, then stick with just maybe coffee like caffeine and BCAAs during your training. BCAAs is crucial. It'll help recover and repair and maintain muscle tissue, so less likely to break down muscle tissue during your fasted training. Your goal is to increase the breakdown of stored fat and maintain muscle when you're doing intermittent fasting. And when you're intaking your BCAAs during your fasted training, you want to take maybe in 1.5, 2 scoops during that training. You want to intake something right after your workout, and the best source would be whey protein because of its blend, the complex of amino acids, various different vitamins and minerals that are in your whey protein, and it's fast digesting, so quick into your system, quick recovery. And at that point too, right when you intake your protein, your amino acids, it's better protein synthesis, so it goes straight into your muscle tissues. Your muscles are going to absorb the amino acids and help with recovery, repair, maintenance of that muscle tissue. It's going to jumpstart that anabolic process. So it's good to be on top of your protein, especially with intermittent fasting. I highly recommend intaking glutamine or creatine, supplementing that specifically according to what's on the bottle. It's going to help decrease the amount of muscle that your body's going to try to break down to compensate. Just naturally, you know, just scientifically, the physics of how your body works. Like I talked about before, when there's not a presence of glucose or carbs, your body's naturally going to want to try to break down muscle tissues. Intaking a carb source, especially a faster digesting carb source, it could be a carb drink, it could also be a fruit, something, a banana, any of those. You want to take that in with your protein right after your workout. In taking that right after your workout, it'll decrease your body from cannibalizing your muscle tissue. So intake your whey protein and your quick digesting carb right after your workout. Break your fast window with that. You have to time everything. See this? You see how everything's timed? So you want to like time your workout right near the end of your fasted window. Some people stay on intermittent fasting for a long period of times. They love it and they continue with it, but they have it nailed down and they're doing it correctly. They're not just like kind of throwing things all over the place. They really time it right. They really understand it, because there is so much more detail and specifics that go into intermittent fasting than I have explained here. If you're somebody who likes to snack on food, who likes to always eat and eat when you want, intermittent fasting is not going to be for you. I know that personally from my own self. I like to eat when I want it. So intermittent fasting for me didn't last very long. I think it's a great fat loss tool. It might work for a lot of you out there, especially for you people who don't like to eat breakfast in the morning just naturally. That works for you. So if you really want to take advantage of that and start planning out your intermittent fasting program, there you go. You kind of already jump started it there. Great sources to look up for intermittent fasting. There are 3 different plans. I have kind of tried all 3 of them. So there's one that's called Lean Gains by Martin Burkhan, the Alternate Day Diet by James Johnson, MD, and the Warrior Diet by Ori Hofmeckler. So these are 3 great sources that you could look up, and they are full books that really go into detail on intermittent fasting. I highly suggest that if you are considering intermittent fasting, that you really really research it and really understand it before you just jump into it, because I know, like I said, personally for me, when I started intermittent fasting, I kind of did a little bit of research and I went, I got this, you know, and I jumped into it at the wrong time and it really messed me up. For women, it's really touchy subject, especially with our hormones and with our estrogen. It can really mess with those levels and throw you out of balance. So if you're a woman considering this, really make sure you research it. Download those ebooks or purchase a book by them and really make sure you understand intermittent fasting before jumping into it. Hopefully that kind of helped you, kind of give you a little insight on intermittent fasting, and maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. You can certainly go educate yourself and understand intermittent fasting a little bit better and try it out and see if it works for you. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so please like it, please share it, please subscribe. You know the drill, come on. But I'll see you guys on the next video.